Hello, I'm Irina Bokas. Welcome to the Future of Learning. According to U.S. Department of Education, preparation for global competitiveness is one of our national goals. Global citizenship education is also one of the strategic areas of the UNESCO education program. Global competency is a necessity. But what exactly does it mean? Brad Smith, CEO of Intuit, a large accounting software company, says that even technical businesses are starting to believe that to compete and win, they first need to understand the customer's inner experience and design emotion into the product. As a result, companies are now looking for something new in their employees: empathy. Empathy leads to collaboration, acceptance, and caring. Yet, as parents, we know that to many children, it doesn't come on its own. It's a disposition that needs to be developed. Our guests today are Meredith Copland and Jamie Meredith, teachers at Bailey Lake and Clarkston Elementary, who join us to share what they do at their classrooms to develop empathy in their students. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Meredith, you know that perhaps children are born with the capacity for empathetic behavior. However, whether or not they will develop into caring, understanding adults largely depends on how they're taught. You teach second grade.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 7, 8-year-olds, they're still young. So what do you believe their biggest challenge when they try to understand feelings of other people? And how do you believe a culture of thinking that you're trying to create in your classroom helps them in this respect?
Well, Irina, I think the biggest challenge with children who are 7 and 8 years old is that they're typically egocentric in nature, which means that they have an inability to see a situation from another's point of view. According to the Swiss philosopher and psychologist Piaget, the egocentric child assumes that other people see, hear, and feel exactly the same as they do. As an educator, I think it's important to change this disposition and create opportunities in my classroom for my students to see things from other perspectives. Cultures of thinking is about creating dispositions. It's about developing an aptitude and a willingness to think in a certain way. Empathy is about thinking how our actions and reactions will affect feelings of others and making correct choices. In essence, it's about understanding consequences. This requires that a rethinking disposition. We try to create a thinking classroom by continuous use of thinking routines that allow children to develop this disposition of considering others.
Right, but studies also shows that reasoning about children's behaviors and the effects that it has on other people, as well as understanding what are exactly the consequences of their behavior and the benefits of the good behavior, is something that is beneficial for developing empathy. So how do you help your children, your students, to reason about those things?
We spend a lot of time in the room reading books about characters who are facing problems. We follow up with these books by using the thinking routine Step Inside and also Circle of Viewpoints. It allows children to think about how they would think and feel, or what they would notice and value if they were that character, if they were put in that situation. It helps my students to gain other perspectives on issues. We use the Tug of War Routine also. Each week I post a question in the back of the room, and this might be about a classroom issue, a school issue, a worldwide issue. The students take a stand on how they feel about this issue. They write down their responses and their opinions with reasons to support it. Afterwards, the students take turns listening to each other's claims, and sometimes they might even change their opinions based on the reasoning of others.
Can you tell me what the exactly Step Inside is? What do the children do?
A Step Inside is where a student might imagine that they are the actual character. They're put in their shoes and they're in that situation. They think about how that student or how that character might feel, how that character might respond in the situation, how it might affect their feelings.
Do they actually just talk about it, or they play it out, or What is it?
Typically, they use this as a writing activity, so
Okay.
they'll write down their responses, and then, like I said, they'll share it either in a microlab situation where they'll talk about it in small groups, or they might just post it up for others or share in small groups.
That's a very interesting practice. So they write and they think and they share.
Yes.
That's kind of a very good way to go about it. And with this, I actually have a question for Jamie. Again, with relation with step inside routine, I know that a lot of children can be very empathetic to those who are in their immediate family or their friends, but when it comes to people outside of their circle of concern, they might not understand them that well, not be so generous, and certainly if those people are different. So how do you believe developing critical thinking can help children to develop this understanding of others?
Irina, at Clarkston Elementary, I believe our school culture is one of acceptance and diversity, largely in part to us housing one of the autism spectrum disorder classrooms for our district. In my 16 years as a teacher at Clarkston L, I have been lucky to see relationships forged between students that are very different from one another. By having all types of children in our classrooms and promoting a culture of thinking, our students learn to value each other's different thinking, which in turn helps them to accept differences in others. Programs like ASD Links, where upper elementary students buddy up with students from the autism program at lunch and recess time, Reach for the Stars in 3rd grade, Disability Awareness in 4th grade, and the 5th grade Buddies program, where 5th graders help younger students who may be experiencing academic or social struggles. All of these programs help students to truly value people who are different from them. Academic Service Learning, or ASL, is another way in which Clarkston teachers promote the acceptance of others who may be different. Through ASL, students are involved in service projects where they must identify a need and be problem solvers to help others. Through this project-based learning approach, students work with many people from different cultures and backgrounds, sometimes even people outside of our community, our state, and our country. Academic Service Learning shows our children that everybody's life doesn't necessarily look like theirs, and they're given the opportunity to help and make change.
Well, also sometimes the ability to understand other people's feelings or relate to them could be impaired by how children feel at that specific moment. Could be anger, could be envy, or any other negative feelings. And obviously, if they're feeling like this, you can't understand or care for others. So how do you believe, or what can be done to help children understand their feelings towards others?
At the elementary level, team meetings and thinking activities that help children put themselves in other people's shoes, like the Step Inside and the Circle of Viewpoints thinking routines that Meredith referred to earlier. They are essential tools for helping children reason about their feelings and the feelings of others. During team meetings, children go through situational learning to help them, as well as the rest of the team, grow and learn from social hurdles and successes that they experience day to day. We challenge the students to see how their actions impact other people and to consider the viewpoints of others. Additionally, at Clarkston Elementary, we have bi-weekly all-school meetings that focus on our school norms and values and norms for behavior. We've developed an acronym for these values, CE ROCKS, or Clarkston Elementary ROCKS. The ROCKS stands for respect, own your own behavior, cooperation, kind, and safe. During school meetings, a different social norm is highlighted and examples are given. We discuss how the ROCKS values can be applied in their everyday lives. For example, our focus in an all-school meeting might be on recess behavior and how you can be respectful, own your own behavior, be kind, cooperate, and be safe when out on the playground at recess time. Through classroom team meetings and these all-school meetings, we teach the reasoning and social skills that can help our students as they navigate through the positive and negative social situations they encounter in their everyday lives.
Meredith, the biggest challenge, I believe, of the global society is going to be that it's a society of collaboration. And collaboration doesn't necessarily come easy also to children. So do you believe that empathy has some sort of correlation with collaboration? And also in relation to it, if you would have classes, for example, in different years, then you would feel that this class is more empathetic. They have more skills and empathetic understanding. Do you believe they also collaborate better if this is the case or not? So is there any relationship, and what do you do to promote it?
Irina, yes, children who can think about and respect feelings of others can collaborate much better just because they're more accepting and they're willing to listen for understanding. As a culture of thinking, our main focus is collaboration. We call ourselves a team, and that's truly what we are. In class meetings and community building activities throughout the year, we define what it means to be a team and to work together to support each of its members. The students work collaboratively in every subject in every part of our school day. They work in partnership groups for reading, for writing, for math. They work in book clubs. The students are held accountable for how they work together in these groups to support each other in each of these subject areas. They learn to offer suggestions, to give helpful feedback, to celebrate their partner's successes, make plans for the future work, and work together to solve problems. In math workshop, the students learn to listen to each other's ideas on how they might solve a problem. They learn to agree and disagree respectfully. They learn that all voices are heard and valued. They learn that there's more than one way to solve a problem. Also, over the past few years as a school, we've adopted a program or a theme for positive behavior, and we call it STOMP. The S is for safe, trustworthy, owning your own behavior, making a difference, and pride. And these are the behaviors that we promote throughout our building when a staff member, teacher, aide, custodian, principal, etc. notices a student who's exhibiting one of these STOMP behaviors. The students will get a STOMP card and they take it to the office and they get a piece of red thread to put their name on, and we connect these red threads throughout our building, and it shows how we're all connected in kindness and ties in Dr. Reck's whole theory of the red thread that connects our community and schools.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like a little chain with the names on it. Okay. And I guess one of the reasons that people sometimes come up for why we shouldn't teach kind of behavioral and behavior-related or just personal qualities to children is because it takes time away from cognitive skills or perhaps learning itself. So do you believe that actually there is a correlation and the impact that understanding its own emotions and empathy can have on children's learning and their academics?
Yeah, I believe that developing a student's character is an essential part of developing their intellect. Students who are not emotionally in the right place to learn, with their basic needs being met, will not be able to focus on academics and cognitive skills. For this reason, we've placed an emphasis on the whole child at Clarkston and across all the Clarkston community schools. We're putting systems and supports in place to meet students' basic needs and help them to develop empathy so they have the disposition to learn. We purposefully build in character development in our classrooms and have school-wide activities which focus on character and team building. It's also important to consider the qualities of an empowered citizen in today's world. Being a strong reader, writer, mathematician, and scientist may be part of what makes a person smart, but their kindness and character is what leaves a lasting impression. Our goal as educators is to grow our young learners to be such individuals and to make a positive impact on our world.
Well, thank you so much. It seems like a lot of being done in at least elementary schools to help our children to develop this quality. So thank you very much for your time and for your insights. Philosopher Martin Buber believed that education worthy of the name is essentially education of character. Studies show that empathy correlates with effective critical thinking and imagination. Because we all are in a unique place in the system of work, community, and our individual lives, we view the world from our own unique vantage point. Teaching students to be more cautious about other people's feelings creates a more accepting and respectful school, local, and later on global communities. As Margaret Whitley wrote, we don't need to agree with each other in order to explore together. There is no need to be joined together at the head as long as we are joined together at the heart.